Top on the priority is, of course, what is in the South African fiscus in terms of the purse itself and how that is going to be used to meet the demands and the challenges that the country is facing from a logistical point of view, as well as an energy crisis that is hampering economic growth in this country. There is big talk of fiscal consolidation. We find out what exactly that would mean in the current South African economy as we discuss this with Dr. Forslund here, Dick Forslund. Thank you so much for your time, Dr. Dick. First of all, as an economist, fiscal consolidation, what should it mean to an ordinary South African in current day South Africa?
Well, it should mean budget cuts, and I mean the whole civil society call it austerity, or if you are an economist who are not with the treasury, so to speak, or if you are not the finance minister, you call it austerity, meaning tightening the belt. And I think ordinary South African, millions of South Africans can expect it that things will go worse in the public sector with public services and service delivery, health, education, etc.
That is already on the side of weakness when you speak of the social spend that is much needed. However, the juggling act that is expected from a finance minister is that his purse has to fit all the holes that need to be closed. What should take priority there?
Well, I think that what should take priority is to deal with the debt costs of the government. And as many of your viewers might know, we are now going over 20% of, I mean, it will be over 400 billion rand in this coming budget, maybe around 425 billion rand, which will go to service debt or interest on debt. And there the finance minister and the government and the treasury, of course, should take a radical turn. And they should turn to domestic funds, they should turn to the state pension fund. I mean, the state pension fund is already a big lender to the government. 13–14% of the state debt, it is a debt to the state pension fund. But the problem is that they are paying market rates on this debt. And in my view, this is completely unnecessary because the state pension fund is running with over 50 billion in surplus every year after paying pension and beneficiaries. So, I mean, that is a part of changing the whole macroeconomic framework. But, I mean, the government has also signed in 2021 a so-called country partnership framework with the World Bank. And there you have so-called fiscal consolidation and mainstream policy. It is the cardinal road for the Treasury and for the World Bank. So I don't see that we will get any change in this budget. But a radical change is needed. It's needed.
Dr. Forslund, on the side of debt, is there an expectation that South Africa could even seek more lending just to meet the demands that the country currently faces?
Yeah, I mean, the government could go for more lending, and it will lend more also. It's currently lending to pay back all debts. That is why the debt is increasing every year, even when the debt or the interest of debt is served. But the thing is, who shall the Treasury and the government borrow money from? And there you have to try as much as possible delink from the, I would say, predatory finance industry. So you have to make some people unhappy and some people happy. And in my view, you should make a minority unhappy, and that is the bankers and the financial operators, who will have lesser profit, of course, if the government would change this policy. Yeah. But the majority would be happier and maybe see kind of some light in the tunnel, some future. As for now, the country is going down. And I mean, in Eastern Cape, where I have my family, there you know, there's hunger among children. And in such a situation, and the education system is cracking up, the health system is cracking up. We have this recent scandal of even medical waste flushing up on the shores of the Wild Coast, because local governments have taken on contractors who are not doing their jobs, but I pay the money. So it is really a very hard time for the local government is really in shambles, and also their budgets are cut by the Treasury. So you have two problems. And when it comes to I would expect there will be many protesters tomorrow, and they will speak not about fiscal consolidation, they will speak about budget cuts and austerity. So even in the language you can see a change in different approaches to the situation.
I'm glad that you raised that, Dr. Forslund, because it not only speaks to a social agenda that should feature in the budget, but it's even more political with the upcoming elections. Yes, they are national elections. However, the demands of this country lie at local level. How much of a balance can we expect from the finance minister there, or is it simply not his job?
No, it is his job in that respect that the equitable share, the share of the budget that is paid to the provinces and which they in their turn are handing out to the local government. You have seen cuts in this equitable share also to the provinces. It's a part of the austerity policy, of the budget cut policy. So he has a responsibility for this. Then, of course, the local government and the provinces, they have a responsibility for handling this money kind of without siphoning it off to silly project or stealing money or whatever is happening. I mean, in Eastern Cape, we saw now complaints about overcrowded classrooms and learners sitting on plastic buckets and so on. The Eastern Cape, the Department of Education in Eastern Cape 2 years ago, they gazetted a decision to close over 1,100 schools in Eastern Cape, which they say are too small. And now the complaint is that there's no transport for these learners to other schools where they then should be kind of massed in from these schools which have less than 130 learners. So I mean, they are also creating their own problems with this. They are kind of finding short-term solutions, and in the long run, look, this is the future. The children is our future. So 10, 15 years from now, we will see the result of this policy, and that is why it should stop now. We have to stop austerity.
Dr. Dick Forslund, thank you so much for your time talking to us about the real experience of an ordinary South African in terms of expectations when it comes to the national budget, over and above what economic commentators are looking for in this delivery of the budget expected tomorrow.